Hey everybody, this is Jared2576 from another video. This time I want to cover how I did the camera work around the cinematic for the Deep Sea City and also my magical sky castle. I've actually had a couple people ask me. It did come up in discussion the other day, and some people were really making it more complicated than it needs to be. They were talking about attaching it to like sculpts with movers and all that stuff. You don't need any of that. You just need the cameras. I'm going to show the cinematic so everybody can see. So this is the cinematic that I did with all the cameras. And people really like this part where it's like fluid. It floats from one view to another. You can also do pause shots. There's one coming up here. Oh. Like here. Oh. In the beginning, when it first overlooks the city, it pauses. And that's the whole cinematic. Didn't take over the puppet. But I'm going to show you. All that was done was with cameras. So that is this timeline. And these are all the cameras. It's a minute and 20 seconds long. Each camera, I think, is set for like 2.5 seconds. So on the first camera, I placed it, and then I set the text and stuff like that. Then all I did was clone it and do the second one. And when I did the second one, after I cloned it, I have it staring at this. That does the pause. So it pauses so you can read it. The third one brings you up here. So it just showed you the transition line when you went to this. I just moved the camera up here and got this shot. And then I think the next one is just up a little bit more. See, these are all the cameras that I placed. See, there's one up there, one behind it, and then there's one back by the text. And I just put them all together. What I'm going to do is we're going to make one. We're going to use So this is one of my other creations, but we're going to set up cameras. So I'm going to get the timeline. Just put it right there. Open it up. Pin it. Like that. Get a camera. Place it. So when I go into it, this is the first view. So I want it to look like that. Exit camera. Right? Clone it. Now I'm into that camera. We'll move it over here. Clone it. Go into it. Let's get a little closer. Go here. again. We'll go up in here. Go into it. And you can mess with all the other settings too. You know, you want to zoom in. That's that one. Come again. Go into it. Go like this. Really zoom in. Just longer. On this. Come up. Zoom out. Now we can come over here. Come back down. Do it one more time. This time we'll move in and zoom in. Like that. Oops. There we go. That's the end. I have to go past it. So what I'll do now is I'll play it, see how it goes, so that way I like all the camera angles. Doesn't have to be smooth or anything. Alright, so this is the first one. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'm going to leave them the current length because they're all kind of close together. Sometimes if they're close together, you can leave them at the default gadget size. Sometimes if they're really far apart, you want more time. So I'll make them a little bit longer. But you really have to mess with it yourself. All right. But what I like to do is I'll highlight all these. And I like to overlap them for like half, I guess. Half a second. I don't know what it's doing. What is it doing? I don't know. Like that. Now what I like to do is, so these balls on the end are for blending. You can mess with this too. Like I said, this is just how I've done it. So I always blend it. And I always bring the ball to like just around the beginning of the next camera. So it'd be like that. Let's see, like on this one, open it, so like that. You should actually not be overlapping as much. You should be overlapping less. Everything relates to each other too when you're adjusting things. Because you also got transition time. Like that. Which I'll go over. So now that I blended it, it should look a little bit better, a little bit smoother. See. You still stop, and that's because of the transition time. So remember, each transition, well, each camera is about 2 seconds. I usually leave the first one alone, so we'll go and actually highlight everything. So I like to do it in unison and then just change it if need be, independently. So I usually leave it on smooth. I don't like ease in and ease out. I don't like the crazy, but you can definitely get some different effects. Like I said, this is just how I've done it. I have used cut before, and I have used linear. The smoothing, I think, is great if you're going from like different heights and different sides, like a combination of the two. If you're just going from camera on the left side to the right side, linear is great too. Or if you're going just up and down. But if it's going to have banks and curves, I suggest smoothing, and I'll explain that as well. So each gadget is about 2 seconds long. So out of that 2 seconds, it only takes 1.5 seconds to transition. So that's why you get it, because it gets to the next camera after it did its transition. So what I want to do is, instead of 1.5, because it's already at 2, so I should do no less than 2. So I'm gonna do, what? Yeah, I'm gonna do 2.5 and see how that looks. So that changed all these to 2.5 seconds. Let's see. Except for the first one, so it's gonna put. See, it doesn't stop as long. It's because the transition is actually longer than the time of the gadget. So it's not actually completing the full transition. It's actually using the next camera as an anchor point to swing near and towards before it moves on to the camera after that. So when you start off here, it swings towards this one, and when it's going through, it actually swings towards this one as it's fading in. That's why I did the fades. So it's just a continuous move. There's no stopping. But since it stopped just a little bit, I want to increase the transition time. So I can probably, 3 might be better. You know what, we'll do 3.5. Let me see how that plays. At the pause, pulls it. Yep, see, it doesn't stop. Nope. See, the one that was here, what one was this? That's that one. Alright. What's this one? No. This one? Yeah, and I don't think it got to zoom all the way in on this when it played it. Let's try it again. Alright. Swings it. See, it doesn't stop. See, it doesn't actually get to it for the transition. So on this one, which should be, is it this one? No, it's not this one. It's this one. Yes. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll name it just so I know when I watch it. So I might want to do less. So it takes about 2 seconds. So let's try 1 second. And I should get to it and then stay there and then go into the next one so you get a good look at it. That's how it should play, let's see. Because the transition is going to end before the length of the gadget. It's a little, too quick. So you know what you could do there too? That's the skull. Yeah, you can do. Skull. I'll take these three, move them over. Copy this one. So it's the same angle, same camera, same everything, just longer. So it's going to transition. This is 2.5. So we're going to make it 2. So it still will end before the gadget, but then it'll have the length of this gadget. This we can leave at 1 second because it's not actually transitioning. It's really just staying there because it's the same camera. Overlap that. Now let's see. Shouldn't be as abrupt going above it, and then it just still looks down at it. Yeah, see? That's a little bit better. And I had to pause. You could probably tweak that even more. What's the second one? This. Would that? No, that wouldn't be the one I want. It would be this one. Extend it like that. And now this clip is now what? 2.5 seconds long. 2.5 seconds. I'll put these back. One last go. Just showing you different ways of adjusting it depending on how you kind of view and look you want to get for it. Alright, that's not as abrupt. Then it pauses. Yep. Not bad. That one I would just make it a little bit longer because it didn't actually stay on that last camera too long. You can make this one longer. But overall, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope that helps get a better understanding on how to do cameras more easily than all that other gibberish. Alright, thanks for watching.